And greetings, my friends, patriots, lovers of democracy, truth, and justice, believers in peace, freedom, and the American way. Thom Hartmann here with you on this beautiful Friday afternoon in Washington, D.C. It is, of course, Friday, so it is time for Brunch with Bernie, Senator Bernie Sanders. So, what's on your schedule? What's going on?
Well, it has been a very, very busy week, and let me just review some of what is going on and some of the work we've been doing. Before we do that, this is Memorial Day weekend. We want to remember those men and women who gave their lives for this country and the families that have never forgotten and are suffering the consequences of that. And as chairman of the Veterans Committee, I want to reach out to all of our veterans and thank them for their service to our country and to tell them that we're trying to do the best to make sure that they get all the benefits and services that they are entitled to. So that's an issue that we are working hard on us and remembering this Memorial Day weekend. In the Senate, we had the Ag bill coming up, and Ag touches on many issues in addition to just farming. It touches on nutrition. It touches on commodities in general. I offered an amendment which could not get to the floor at this point, and I was disappointed by that, and that is you may be aware that, Tom, in Europe right now there's an investigation going on about the possibility of the rigging of oil prices among some of the major oil companies in the world. I would like the appropriate agency here, which actually functions under the jurisdiction of the Ag Department, the Commodities Futures Trading Commission, to take a look at that and see to what degree oil price rigging may be taking place here in America. What we do know about oil prices is that right now, unlike economic theory, where presumably prices go up when supply is limited and demand is great, right now demand is limited and supply is great, and yet we have seen very high gas prices at the pump. I personally believe that in addition to the possibility of the rigging of oil prices, what we do know for a fact is that on the oil futures market, there is rampant speculation by Wall Street companies who now control about 80% of the oil futures market. And what I want to see is that excessive speculation ending, which can substantially lower prices for consumers at the gas pump. So bottom line is, what the oil futures market should be about is end users, people who actually use oil, buying what they need, not Wall Street driving prices up through excessive speculation. What I did manage to get on the floor just the other day is an amendment which would allow states the right to go forward with labeling for genetically modified foods. And I think the issue here is that the American people are increasingly concerned about the quality of the food they are eating and what their kids are eating. In the state of Vermont, our state legislature overwhelmingly passed legislation to allow the state to label GMO food. And in Connecticut, the state Senate there did it, I think it was 44-1 or something, just overwhelming vote. California, that issue was on the ballot in that state in November. 47% of the people voted for food labeling, despite some $50 million coming in a media campaign against the effort from Monsanto and the other major food, high biotech companies and large food corporations. So I think all over this country there is concern about the issue, and we want states to have the right to label GMO food. We did not win. We lost. We only got 27 votes, but we are making progress. We got the leadership of the Democratic Party on board. Majority Leader Reid voted for it. Chuck Schumer voted for it. So I think we're making some progress. We're seeing states make progress, and we're going to continue working on that issue. We also this week held a rally with a number of senators to call for the reauthorization and improvement and expansion of the Older Americans Act. Everybody knows about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Not everybody knows about the Older Americans Act, which was also developed during the 1960s. And what that bill does is it is the bill that funds the Meals on Wheels program, what we call the congregate meal program. That's where for senior centers all over this country, providing good quality food for seniors who are there. It funds employment programs for seniors. It makes it easier also for seniors to stay at home. One of the problems that we have in this country, Tom, is that if seniors are not getting food that they need, getting some housekeeping help, often they're forced into a nursing home, which is not what they want, not what their family wants, and is much more expensive to the whole healthcare system and government spending than keeping people at home. And that's what the Older Americans Act focuses on. So we have increased funding for it, and we hope to get a markup on that in committee in the not-too-distant future. Also, I think, as many people are aware, there was a hearing, not on my committee, but on Carl Levin's committee dealing with oversight in the Senate, dealing with Apple and their tax avoidance policies. And Apple is just one example of almost every major multinational corporation. Right now in Congress, as we have talked about many times, there are some folks who want to cut Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, education, nutrition, and really balance the budget on the backs of some of the most vulnerable people in this country. Meanwhile, 1 out of 4 corporations in America pays zero in taxes. And you have companies like Apple, General Electric, Bank of America, many other large corporations who use these tax shelters in the Cayman Islands and all over the world. Ireland have very, very sophisticated approach to avoid paying U.S. taxes. So the end result of that is that in the United States, our corporations are paying a lower percentage of their profits in revenue, in taxes, than any other major country on earth, and the percentage of taxes the corporations as a whole are paying have declined very, very significantly over the years, adding to our deficit problem. So we want real tax reform. We want these corporations to be starting to pay their fair share of taxes so that we don't balance the budget on the backs of the elderly, the children, the sick, or the poor, but on that some of these companies that are enjoying record-breaking profits help us with deficit reduction. There's been a whole lot of discussion, as everybody knows, on this IRS business. Clearly, the IRS is absolutely wrong. When you do policy, you don't look at just one group of people, in this case, conservatives. But what we should also understand, that the root cause of this problem has to do with the 501c4 program, by which, as a result of Citizens United, corporations now are able to pour huge amounts of money into the political process, in secret without being disclosed. So the underlying cause of the scandal has to do with campaign finance reform in America. Make sure that we repeal Citizens United through a Supreme Court, through a constitutional amendment, and also deal with this 501c4 issue by the Congress.
Senator Bernie Sanders with us, taking your calls right after this.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
It's Brunch with Bernie, our national town hall meeting. Check out Senator Sanders' website at sanders.senate.gov. And welcome back. Terry, watching Free Speech TV in Silver Springs, Nevada. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, this is Terry. Senator Sanders, I want to know why the VA is refusing service to vets with medical marijuana cards. Only basic care. A friend with prostate cancer is told no more cancer clinic for him. And stress feeds cancer. So what's up with that?
That's a good question, Terry. I don't know the answer to that. So tell me again what the issue is.
I'm sorry, we dropped Terry. Terry said that his friend, when he got a medical marijuana card, they said he could still get access to basic care, but no more cancer care for his treatment for his prostate cancer.
That does not sound right to me.
Yeah.
And I would have his friend call up his local member of Congress. That does seems absolutely wrong to me.
Yeah. Victor in Pittsburgh, Missouri, watching Free Speech TV on Dish satellite TV system. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yes, good afternoon, Senator. God bless you for all the work you've done.
Thank you very much, Victor.
It's the first time I ever got a chance to talk to you. First, I want to mention, I need to make a statement first. I viewed in 1996 on C-SPAN the Senate subcommittee on reimbursing the attorneys that were responsible for winning the $400 billion lawsuit in tobacco companies. And $100 billion they decided would come out directly from Social Security, and I would like for you to illuminate whether or not Social Security was ever reimbursed at $100 billion, and maybe they should.
Whoa. Okay, Victor, I doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me that money would come out of Social Security to pay for a lawsuit against tobacco. That wasn't Social Security who was. So that doesn't add up to me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I've heard variations on this spin, and it was that. Victor, thank you for the call. It was that because this is money that didn't go into the general fund and we were operating in a deficit, and the deficit means that that Social Security is holding Treasury bills, which are functionally debt, and it's that whole conservative thing.
Let's do it again, and I think it's important that we do it every week because there's just a hell of a lot of misinformation out there about Social Security. So let's go through it again.
Yep.
Social Security today, despite what some of our right-wing friends are talking about, is not going broke. It has a $2.6 trillion surplus, can pay out every benefit owed to every eligible American, has not contributed one nickel to the deficit because it's funded by the payroll tax. There are many people for many years who have tried to destroy Social Security. Some simply want to make major cuts, others want to privatize it. And the reason, to a large degree, is that many of these folks do not believe the government should be there to protect working families. So they rather have Wall Street provide retirement benefits rather than a Social Security program which has worked amazingly well over the last 70-plus years. Low administrative costs has gone a long way to cut back on senior poverty in this country. Now, when Social Security has $2.6 trillion in its account, what does it do with the money? Does it put it under somebody's mattress? No. What it does is invest it in Treasury bonds, which is a significant source of income. So that should not be surprising or scary or open to any conspiratorial thinking. That is a wise investment. It's a safe investment, and that's what they do.
We'll be back with Senator Sanders right after this. Welcome back to the place where smart people get their news, the Thom Hartmann Program. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Bernie Sanders on the line with us, taking your calls in our national town hall meeting. And Bob in Dearborn, Michigan, watching Free Speech TV on Dish Satellite TV. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Yeah, before my question, I wanted to get both of your comments on an idea. Recently it was reported that scientists are very close to being able to clone a human being. Would the senator, I'd like to get the senator and Elizabeth Warren to volunteer for that so that other states can also have honest senators.
Well, thanks very much.
Good one, Bob. Your question?
Yeah. Given the following facts, that the Republicans have blocked every attempt to slow global warming, and that was at least partly the cause of the huge tornado we had, and all they've done is protect the big polluters from regulation, and also that Tom Coburn voted against Hurricane Sandy aid, and he tried to block health care for 9/11 first responders. And the people of Oklahoma keep reelecting Coburn, and all he does is protect billionaires from paying taxes. Why should we given all these facts, why should we give any money at all to help Oklahoma?
The answer, Bob, is I think you know the answer. And the answer is that Oklahoma is not Senator Coburn. Oklahoma has working people, they have kids, and they just suffered a terrible, terrible tragedy where 20 kids were killed and massive damage. And they are part of America, just as Vermonters. And so when Vermont had its problem with Hurricane Irene a couple of years ago, I was on the floor saying, you know what? Last I heard, this was the United States of America. We are one country, and we come to the aid of each other when each state has a tragedy, and that's what we've got to do. So, that's why I will support funding for to help the people of Oklahoma. But what I do want to say, and getting back to your first point, is it is impossible to know, and nobody does know, that an extreme weather disturbance, whether it's a storm, or a tornado or anything else, is the direct cause of global warming. What we do know is that as a result of global warming, there is likely to be significantly more extreme weather disturbances. That's what we do know. And as Bob indicated, what we also know, and this is really just embarrassing for us as Americans, that we have a major political party, i.e. the Republican Party, that has refused to recognize what the overwhelming majority of scientists are saying, and that is that global warming is real. Global warming is largely caused by man-made activities. Global warming is already causing devastating problems in our country and throughout the world, and that we have got to address it. And it is almost beyond my comprehension that we have a major political party which refuses to acknowledge those realities. So what we are doing, I am working hard on this, and a number of us are. We have introduced legislation calling for a tax on carbon, and are working very hard to move this country away from fossil fuels to energy efficiency and to such sustainable energies as wind, solar, geothermal, biomass. And when you do that, you not only cut back on greenhouse gas emissions, you also create a heck of a lot of jobs in the process. And you save people, in many cases, money on their fuel bills. So we're going to work very, very hard on that issue. I'm a member of the Energy Committee and the Environmental Committee. I'm working with Ron Wyden, who's chairman of the Energy Committee, Barbara Boxer, chair of the Environmental Committee, to see if we can have some success in those areas.
Okay. Where did it go? Here we go. Tim, in Sycamore, Illinois. You are on the air with Senator Sanders. Thanks for listening to WCPT.
Well, thank you, Tom. Nice to speak to you, and thank you for taking my call, Senator Sanders. My question is, what do you think of the Trans-Pacific Partnership? I mean, it sounds a lot like what happened in the 90s with NAFTA, and what, if anything, Congress can and will do about it, because it sounds like President Obama is willing and ready to sign off on it.
Right. Good question. Very good question. Tom and I have chatted for years about our trade policy and the horrendous impact that our trade policy, whether it's NAFTA, CAFTA, permanent normal trade relations with China and others, have had on the American worker. And in my view, the origin of these trade agreements stems from corporate America's desire to make substantially more money by being able to shut down manufacturing plants in this country. And in the last 10 years or so, we have lost about 60,000 factories. I mean, when we think about the American economy, we almost don't think about manufacturing anymore because it's a much significantly reduced part of what the American economy is about. Well, those jobs used to pay people decent wages, and they're gone. And that's one of the reasons why people with high school degrees now are earning wages way, way, way below what they used to. And I think one of the factors, not the only factor, automation has played a big role in that, but clearly one of the factors is that virtually every major corporation in America has shut down plants in America and moved to China and elsewhere. So I have voted consistently against these trade agreements. And I have great concern about the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement as well. I do not want to see American workers competing against the people in Vietnam. I was in Vietnam a couple of years ago, and they are trying very hard to, improve their economy. Their workers there are paid 25, 30 cents an hour. I don't want to see American workers forced to compete against those type of wages. So I think what we need to do is demand that corporate America start reinvesting in this country. Corporate America start paying taxes in this country rather than running to tax havens like the Cayman Islands to avoid taxes in countries like Vietnam in order to not employ American workers. So I have real concerns about that trade agreement.
And Bernie, if this is brought forward on fast track, it can't be filibustered. Do I understand that correctly?
Well, we're working on that, Tom. Yes, we are. Fast track prevents a filibuster. That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. Senator Bernie Sanders taking your calls in our national town hall meeting, Brunch with Bernie. Check out Bernie's website at sanders.senate.gov. You can sign up for the Bernie Buzz. And they update that website several times a day. Lots of great news information there. It's one of the few, actually, of all the people in the Senate that really is a good content site.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Call 866-987-THOM.
So, sanders.senate.gov. You can also check out our website, thomhartmann.com. Drop into our free live chat room. We'll be back with more of Bernie answering your questions right after this. And David in Halfway, Missouri. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Bernie. It's good to talk to you. I got a couple of things. One leads into the other. Is there no way to stop people from sliding these protection acts into bills for like Monsanto? And if not, we need to slide in like a protection act for the commons, like so the next president that comes in can't sell off all these lands to these frackers that belongs to the American people. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So?
Okay, well, David asked a question about riders that I'll put in. I think he referenced this Monsanto rider. There was an effort to get it out. Actually, just the other day, Jeff Merkley of Oregon tried. I don't think he was able. I think his effort to get the amendment on the floor was blocked, and I strongly supported what Jeff was trying to do. I think we just have to be very careful when bills come forward. It is very easy in the dark of night for somebody in a conference committee or elsewhere to place in a little bit of a rider which benefits a major corporation. And David is absolutely right. That's something that we don't want to see.
John, watching Free Speech TV on the Dish Satellite TV network in Columbus, Ohio. You are on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hey, Bernie. It's good to hear you today. I'm wondering, why can't the IRS website provide a page where you can go and look up what percentage of profits a given company pays in taxes? That way consumers could choose to support companies that choose to support America.
I don't know, John. That's a very good point. I don't know that it's the business of the IRS to have to report that, but I would hope that there are websites who do. And there is a lot of information, and you can go to my website, sanders.senate.gov. I think we still have up there a study that we did, which showed that there are dozens of major American corporations, General Electric comes to mind, Bank of America, others, who in a given year, despite making billions of dollars in profits, as a result of using these tax havens like the Cayman Islands and elsewhere, avoid paying any U.S. federal income taxes. And that is clearly an outrage. Companies enjoying huge profits, billions of dollars in profits, paying nothing in taxes is absurd. So there are all websites that are out there that have that information. Now, the debate that's taking place in Congress is twofold. The president, many Republicans are saying, we need tax reform. We need to look at these issues. But at the end of the day, to the degree that we do away with these loopholes, what you want to do is lower corporate tax rates. And we don't want any additional revenue from corporate America. I think that is very, very wrong. I think you want to do away with these loopholes, clearly. But at the end of the day, if we're going to protect the elderly and the children and the sick and the poor, we're going to need more revenue coming into the federal government. Revenue right now, as a percentage of GDP, is quite low compared to where it was in the last 60 years. So that is the issue, John, and I think people should be aware. And go to my website. There'll be one place you will find that information about major corporations who in some cases pay nothing in taxes, in other cases pay very little.
Howard in Hollywood, Florida, listening on the web stream for WCPT. You're on the air with Senator Sanders, Howard.
Just to follow on Bernie's point before I get into mine, one of the major reasons our national debt is going up so high is because of the lack of revenue. Everybody thinks it's just the spending. The spending is down, but the revenue coming in is not there. And the solution to that, and this is the thing that makes me raging angry, is that the Democrats are not going after the Republicans for destroying our economy. Tom, you have two videos, the two Santa Claus theory and the caucus room meetings. They right now are in total control. What is covered in those two subjects are right now controlling our economy totally. And something has got to be done. I don't know why Obama doesn't confront the Republicans on jobs bills and make it into a major issue.
Okay. So, jobs bills?
Well, let me just pick up on Howard's point. The good news is that we have seen in recent years, for a lot of reasons, a significant decline in the federal deficit. I think right now, as I recall, it is about $848 billion, which is a heck of a lot less than the $1.4 trillion it was some years ago. So we are making some progress on that. But Howard's point is absolutely right, and as he indicates, most people don't understand it. A budget is about two things. It's about the amount of money that you spend, but it's also about the amount of money that comes in. And we right now, as a percentage of GDP, are at almost the lowest rate of revenue that we have been in 60 years. And the reason for that, as I just mentioned a moment ago, is all of these corporate tax loopholes of companies like General Electric are paying nothing in taxes. Well, guess what? And 1 out of 4 corporations are paying nothing in taxes. Guess what? Less revenue is going to come in. So this is an issue that we have got to address. So Howard is absolutely right in pointing out it is not simply spending. It is also a question of revenue, and that's an issue that must be addressed. And second point, unemployment today, is the economy better than it was 5 years ago? Absolutely. Everybody will remember that when Obama first came in, we were losing 700,000 jobs a month. That is just unbelievable. Right now, job growth is too slow. Depending on any given month, it's 150, 200,000 jobs, nowhere near enough. But unemployment is, in fact, going down. But it is not as low as the official statistics indicate. And every week I make this point. If you look in the newspapers, they'll tell you unemployment today is about 7.5%. Not really. That figure does not include people who have given up looking for work in high unemployment areas and people who are working 20 hours a week when they want to work 40 hours a week. And that's, when you look at the economy also, it does not reflect the fact that there are millions of American workers today, Tom, who are working longer hours for lower wages. It does not reflect the fact that for young people, the unemployment rate is outrageously high. People of color, very, very high. So we have got to start rebuilding our economy. Now, the good news is, as I mentioned earlier, we have made some real progress on deficit reduction. Now what we have to do is figure out how we create the millions of jobs that our people need. And the fastest way to do that is to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure, roads, bridges, airports, create a first-class rail system, water systems, put people to work. Second of all, we have to transform our energy system away from fossil fuel into energy efficiency and sustainable energy. And when you do that, you also create jobs. So Howard is absolutely right. We have got to focus on job creation because the economy for working families today is very, very poor.
Karen, listening on Progressive Voices Radio in Sacramento, California. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, thanks. Today we're out occupying Monsanto in Davis, and I would like you to tell me what percentage of your political colleagues actually understand the GMO issue is more than just the actual product, but it's the business ethics in terms of confiscating American farmers' land and patenting seeds and eventually owning the food supply.
Karen, great point. And to answer your questions, I suspect not many members do understand that reality. When you deal, and I don't, now is not the time to get into a long discussion about GMOs, but Karen raises very important points. and that Monsanto is taking us into a new world. And it's a world that I have and many other people have real concerns about. And there has not been the kind of public discussion that we need as to whether or not we want to go into that world and what the potential dangers of that world are. So, Karen, thank you very much for that question. What we tried to do yesterday was offer a very conservative amendment. Didn't begin to touch the issues that Karen, the very legitimate issues that Karen is raising. And the issues that I wanted to talk about is, should states have the right to label GMO products? My state of Vermont wants to do it. Connecticut wants to do it. Other states are moving in that direction. What Monsanto and the other big companies will say is that states don't have the right to do that because it is a federal, it's within the federal sphere of action. I disagree with that. So I brought forth an amendment to make sure that states could do it. But Karen is right. The issue is bigger than GMO labeling, and it is an issue that needs a lot of discussion.
Bernie, we just have about 30 seconds to the break. Do you think that states will be able to label genetically modified?
Well, they can. I mean, they could do it tomorrow. The problem is that Monsanto, with their incredible resources, Monsanto is a very heavily litigious corporation. They sue at the drop of a hat. So small states like Vermont, then, if we go forward, have to be prepared for a major lawsuit that could cost millions and millions of dollars. And that's what I wanted to address in yesterday's amendment.
To provide some legal protection to the states
if Congress
at the federal level?
My amendment, then it's clear that states do have the right to go forward. That takes care of a major argument that Monsanto and their friends are making.
Wow. It's extraordinary. Senator Bernie Sanders with us, taking your calls in our national town hall meeting, Brunch with Bernie, here on the Thom Hartmann Program. Check out Bernie's website. He mentioned it a little earlier. It's sanders.senate.gov. And you can find the information on corporate taxes. You can sign up for the Bernie Buzz, his newsletter. Be right back.
You're listening to the Thom Hartmann Program. Visit ThomHartmann.com for audio and video archives.
And, of course, there's ThomHartmann.com. You can drop into our live chat room and say hi to some of the finest minds in the world who are hanging out there. Welcome back. And Barry in Houghton Lake, Michigan. I've been to Houghton Lake. Barry, you're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Good afternoon. I was a little curious. Here recently it's been reported that 350,000 people are collecting Social Security living abroad. I know several people on disability are told they can't leave the country for more than 3 months at a time. Is there a difference between disability and retirement Social Security?
Barry, that is an excellent question. I'll have my staff look it up. You can give us a ring. I don't know the answer to that right now.
Okay. Ken in Lebanon, Missouri. You're on the air with, watching Free Speech TV and DirecTV. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Senator Sanders, is Ken Hurd in Lebanon, Missouri. I'm a retired veteran from Vietnam era. Didn't go to Vietnam. But my question for you is regarding Guantanamo Bay. When did America acquire that piece of property and decide to make it a prison, and how has it remained as it is for so long, considering the way we've treated Cuba? Could you answer that for me?
God, you're testing my history here. It's always interesting being on the air with you, Tom, because you get all these... Well, let me do my best here. And Tom, maybe you know more about it than I do. I think the United States acquired Guantanamo, the Spanish-American War. Was that right?
I honestly don't know the history of it. I'm sorry.
Well, we'll check up on that. I think they did, and obviously it wasn't always a prison. It's being used, it was used for military purposes. So the answer is the United States, I suppose, forced a treaty on Cuba way back when.
Yeah, Jim says 1903. He just Googled it. Well,
okay, so
the Cuban-American Treaty, which would have come out of the Spanish-American War, because that was...
Right?
Yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt marching up some hill.
There you go, yeah.
All right, and, probably forced a treaty with Cuba, and I think there may be a time limit on that treaty. So I don't know. Ken, great answer. We'll go to the history books and get back to you on it.
Okay. Mitchell in Chowchilla, California, watching Free Speech TV on Dish TV Network. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Senator Sanders. My question is, how would I go about writing a bill to put on the ballot in 50 states that if companies want to hide their money offshore and not pay their fair share of taxes, that their incorporation and their right to do business in the United States can be revoked?
Well, I can tell you, Mitchell, that would be a very difficult and expensive process, and it varies state by state. Some states, like California, have a ballot initiative, and every election there are always a number of ballot items on there, and I guess it requires getting a whole lot of signatures. In the state of Vermont, that is not the way it works, for example. We do it town by town. It is much harder, if not impossible, to have a statewide initiative. And I guess it varies all over the country. But to make that kind of there are ways that one could go forward on that, Mitchell, and it really deals with the particular state. But I think the point you're making is an important one. People should have a right to express their point of view on it, but you're going to have to work state by state.
Senator Bernie Sanders back in just a moment with more of your calls here on Brunch with Bernie. Welcome back to the place where despair is not an option, the Thom Hartmann Program. It's our Brunch with Bernie hour. Senator Sanders taking your calls. John, listening on KABQ in Albuquerque, New Mexico. You're on the air with Senator Sanders. John? John is not there. Okay. David, in Chicago, listening on WCPT. You're on the air with Senator Sanders.
Hi, Tom. Hi, Senator Sanders. I hope you have a nice weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm calling because every month over 75,000 foreign legal workers come into the country, and I was hoping that S744, this Gang of Eight immigration bill, would provide protections against bypassing American citizens. And yet, at the last minute, Senator Hatch got in these amendments that essentially would allow Americans to be bypassed in favor of cheap foreign labor. So what can we do to both in the Senate and as American citizens observing this process, take away this subsidy of cheap foreign labor, primarily H-1B and L-1, and the staple automatic green card? Because nobody can get a green card unless they're offered a job. And this
okay, David, you've asked a great question, and actually it's something I had meant to talk about earlier in the program, so I thank you very much for raising it. Here's the story, folks. The immigration reform bill just came out of the Senate Judiciary Committee, and there are a lot of good things in that bill, a lot of good things. I think it's high time that we allowed 11 million people who are in this country now to move toward citizenship, give them a path to citizenship. I think the DREAM Act is very, very important, and I want to see that passed as well. But David raises the most serious problem with that bill. And that is, and here's the issue, it's under the concept of guest worker programs. Right now, as I mentioned a moment ago, real unemployment in this country is about 14%, especially high for young workers. Wages for high school graduates, people who don't have a lot of skills or education, has plummeted in recent years. Do we really believe that in the midst of that reality, what we need to have is hundreds of thousands of low-wage, unskilled workers coming into this country? That's the question. I think not. I think there are certain areas, certainly in agriculture, where we do need foreign labor. For whatever reason, Americans are not doing that kind of work. But I think that in many, many other areas, give you an example. If you go to swimming pools or beaches around this country in the summertime, you're going to find lifeguards who come from Europe. If you go to resorts in this country, you're going to find people working the front desk who come from other countries. You're going to find a variety of workers or if you go to ski industries in Vermont and elsewhere, you're going to find ski instructors coming from other countries. Now, I think there are a whole lot of kids in this country who need some summer jobs, among other things, or year-round jobs, in order to save up some money to go to college. Do I think that American kids can be ski instructors or front desk people or lifeguards? Yeah, I do. And I just don't know why we want to bring in foreign workers to do those jobs. Second of all, in the area of what we call the H-1B program, that's the high-skilled area, many corporations are saying we cannot find high-skilled workers in order to do certain jobs. Well, I suspect that in certain instances that is exactly true. Certain locations of the country, certain types of work. But here's the interesting point. What we have recently found out is that more than 9 million people in this country have degrees in science, technology, engineering, or math, but only about 3 million, one-third of those people, have jobs in those areas. And most importantly, Tom, what is supposed to happen if you can't find a worker? What is, under the rules of capitalism, what is supposed to happen?
Typically, you raise the wage that you're offering.
Right. Gee, I can't find an engineer. I'm going to have to raise the wages in order to attract that person. Well, guess what? Salaries in computer and math-related fields for workers with college degrees rose very, very slightly between the year 2000 and 2001. So I agree with David, and I am very concerned about these provisions. I think they were not good before. Senator Hatch made them worse. So there are certain areas, I do believe, their foreign workers can help us fill a gap and help us with our economy. But I think what the corporate world and the high-tech world are doing is really making an all-out effort in order to bring in cheap labor, both at the high-tech level, where foreign workers will work for lower wages, resulting in Americans not seeing the kind of wage increases they desperately need, and certainly for low-wage workers, where unemployment is so high and wages are so low. I just can't see the explanation for hundreds of thousands of low-skilled workers coming into this country. So immigration reform, yes. I believe that. My father was an immigrant, came to this country at the age of 17. We are a nation of immigrants. Immigration makes us stronger. But having said that, I do not want to see the big money interest used under the guise of immigration reform, bring in huge numbers of cheap labor here to lower wages in this country.
Bernie, we're just a minute out from the end of the hour. Your thoughts on the week ahead and the state of America?
Well, I think we've touched on many of the important issues facing this country. One issue that we did not talk about is the issue of media monopoly. There is a lot of discussion, as you know, in this country right now about the possibility of the Koch brothers purchasing the the Tribune Company, which has some 8 major daily newspapers in America. And I would hope that people will give voice to the fact that we do not need even more big money control over media in this country, especially with a very right-wing family. So concentration of ownership in media, to me, is a very, very big issue. Let's not make a bad situation even worse.
Has there ever been an effort to require media to be owned locally, that more than half the stockholders have?
Well, it's not, no. I mean, you got First Amendment stuff with newspapers. In terms of television and radio, yes, there is an effort within law to emphasize localism and local control.
Senator Bernie Sanders. Bernie, thanks so much for being with us today.
Good to be with you, Tom. Take care.
Always a pleasure.